It was 15 years ago, a crisp autumn afternoon in 2008. Donald Trump was seated in the first-class cabin of a flight from New York to Chicago. Dressed sharply in a tailored navy suit, his red tie perfectly knotted, Trump's focus was on his briefcase, which held documents for a high-stakes real estate deal. Back then, Trump was not yet the President of the United States. He was the Donald, a larger-than-life business mogul and reality TV star. The flight was delayed and Trump grew visibly impatient. He glanced around the cabin, noticing the other passengers settling into their seats. He was about to return to his notes when a figure caught his eye. A frail, elderly man with a worn hat adorned with military insignias, slowly making his way down the aisle. The man, struggling to lift his small suitcase into the overhead bin, seemed exhausted from years of wear and tear. A flight attendant approached to assist him but looked overwhelmed by the bustle of boarding. Without hesitation, Trump stood up and offered his seat. "Take my seat," Trump said, his voice calm yet firm. "It's up front. You'll have more room." The man hesitated, looking up at Trump with tired yet grateful eyes. "Thank you, but I couldn't possibly—" "I insist," Trump interrupted. He gestured to the seat and moved to a vacant one in the business class section. As the veteran settled into the first-class seat, Trump caught sight of the man's hands. They trembled slightly as he opened a battered leather bag, pulling out a photo album. Intrigued, Trump couldn't help but watch as the man flipped through the pages. From his new seat, Trump observed the man closely. The album was filled with black and white photos, images of soldiers in uniform, battlefields, and candid moments of camaraderie. Trump noticed one particular photo that made the man pause. It depicted two young men smiling, arms around each other amidst the chaos of war. Curiosity got the better of Trump. During the flight, he approached the man. "Excuse me, sir," Trump began, his tone softer than usual. "That photo you were looking at, who's in it?" The man introduced himself as Sam Reynolds, a veteran of both World War II and the Korean War. He explained that the photo was of him and his best friend, John, who he believed had died in a devastating explosion during the Korean War. "We were inseparable," Sam said, his voice tinged with emotion. "John saved my life more times than I can count. But that day, I was sure he didn't make it." As Sam spoke, Trump's expression changed. Something about the story felt eerily familiar. He thought back to his late father, Fred Trump, who had often mentioned a family friend named John who served in the Korean War. Fred had spoken of John's bravery and how he had lost touch with him after the war. Trump leaned forward. "Sam, do you mind if I take a closer look at that photo?" Sam handed it to him, and Trump's suspicions were confirmed. The man in the photo was indeed the same John his father had spoken of. Overwhelmed by the connection, Trump shared what he knew. "Sam, I think I know this man," Trump said. "He was a friend of my father's, and if I'm not mistaken, he's alive." Sam's hands trembled as he gripped the photo tighter. "Alive? Are you sure?" Trump nodded. "Let me make a few calls once we land. If this is the same John, I'll find him." The remainder of the flight was filled with cautious optimism. Sam shared more stories of his time with John, their friendship, their sacrifices, and the unspoken bond forged in the horrors of war. As the plane touched down in Chicago, Trump wasted no time. He contacted his team, instructing them to find any information about John's whereabouts. Within hours, they had a lead. John was living in a small town in Indiana, just a short drive away. Trump invited Sam to join him on a detour to Indiana. Though hesitant at first, Sam agreed, unable to resist the possibility of seeing his old friend again. The drive was filled with quiet anticipation. Sam clutched the photo tightly, his mind racing with memories. Trump, usually the talkative type, remained silent, respecting the gravity of the moment. They arrived at a modest home on the outskirts of a quiet neighborhood. Trump knocked on the door, and an elderly man answered. His face, though aged, bore a striking resemblance to the man in the photo. "John?" Sam's voice broke as he stepped forward. The man squinted, his expression shifting from confusion to shock. "Sam?" he whispered. Tears welled in both men's eyes as they embraced, their voices trembling with emotion. "I thought I lost you," Sam said, his voice cracking. "And I thought I lost you," John replied. "After that explosion, I woke up in a field hospital. They told me you didn't make it." Decades of separation melted away in that instant. The two men sat together, recounting stories, sharing laughter, and shedding tears. Trump watched from the background, humbled by the scene. Before leaving, Trump ensured that Sam and John could stay connected, arranging transportation and communication support for them. As he bid them farewell, Sam turned to him. "Mr. Trump," Sam said, his voice steady despite the emotion, "you didn't have to do any of this, but you did. You've given me back a part of my life I thought was gone forever." Trump smiled, his usual bravado replaced with genuine warmth. "Sometimes, Sam, fate gives us an opportunity to do something meaningful. I'm just glad I could help." This is a reminder that small acts of kindness can lead to extraordinary moments. Donald Trump's decision to give up his seat didn't just offer comfort to a veteran, it reunited two heroes and restored a friendship lost to time. Thank you for watching. If this story inspired you, please like, share, and subscribe to support more uplifting stories.